else needs set? Pam, do you have one?
I have the, slides. You go.
Yeah. You have this sheet, but I'll get to you anyway.
John, I'm sure you'd be interested in hearing that. This too ties into what, you had a lot of input to it as well, and so got several folks here. This is, first of all, the first update to the board, and was a result of the lease coming due on the 1-year lease on the pasture land, and also the desire for complementary use. So I'll go through with this, and if you have questions, feel free to address. I've got two of the members of the advisory committee here, Bobby Clark and Joan Comenar. And Steve Baker. We've been actively meeting and going over the various issues, and what we're going to focus on today is primarily the land use, as opposed to the other side of the advisory committee is the almshouse, and that's a separate issue that, of course, it's function of funding and needs, and that's where People's Incorporated is looking into various grant monies that may be available there. As I mentioned, there's two separate lease agreements. There's the 5-year and 1-year lease agreement, and the Parks and Recs came in with a proposal that they would like to take over what is the existing pasture land to expand the park and provide the additional for the disc golf area. We looked at that considerably, and also the fact that the farmland can be improved and have greater productivity if it's a long-term lease. Now, if we look at this on a bigger scale, there's a lot of farmland here in Shenandoah County. Land that is leased by farmers from landowners, and they just come in, they graze their cattle, graze it right down to the roots. On a lot of these leases, they don't have a vested interest in improving the land. And as we all know, if you don't put something into it, you don't get it back out in your results. So what we focused a lot on was if we increase the lease term, then a farmer can invest into the property, and by investing in, I'm talking about fertilization, management of the property under best management practices of agriculture. And the other side of it is, with a larger lease, the farmer is the farmer that's leasing can apply for various ag BMP cost sharing issues. So this is, as a review, the area that is currently leased. Here's the 1-year pasture area. This is the county park. Now this is what was basically agreed upon from the the county farm task force, and also want to point out, and I'm glad we got John here and Elizabeth, that this property over here, which about that area, I think, it's about 100, almost 200 acres, isn't it?
170.
170, okay. The Jordan Run tract of the Civil War battlefield, Tom's Brook battleground. And one of the things that was highly discussed before and has kept in our view is the fact that as that property is developed in the future, then we want to have access through to the county park and the farmland, because this is all battlefield area as well. So Peaberry was which is along here, was the rough line as I understand it. And also there'd be some connections with the Jordan Run tract in that battlefield area down to Tom's Brook, and a lot of trail network is potentially proposed. This area is under the 5-year lease. That's the tillable, we'll call it the tillable land, that's cropland. That has been continuously under no-till, which is a conservation practice that's being promoted. And Bobby, how long has that been under no-till? Do you ever recollect?
I know he's talked about pushing over 10 years.
Yeah. Okay. And that is a major area that's being looked at by others as to the practice of no-till and what that does to improve the watersheds. Of course, we've got streams in here, and when you till land, you lose soil. The more you do with no-till, the better off. That improves our drainage. The other side of it is, last year they did a program in cooperation with the Extension Service of aerial seeding while the corn was up, about 2 feet, 2.5 feet high, they went in and aerial seeded with a helicopter of a ground cover, so that started developing, and by the time they harvested the corn, it was up and you had a full cover over the ground to prevent runoff. These are all things that we need to look at in the future for best management practices.
Are you saying you need to look at it as far as making it a condition of the lease, or?
Yes, and that's one of the options that we're going to be discussing here. So that's just more to bring you up to date. Want to revisit the mission statement that you all approved about a year and a half ago, and I've highlighted the primary sentence of each of the 4 areas, and then put the full amount of this one on compatible uses, because that's what we're going to be talking about today. All of this that you bought into is still in place, and we want to keep it solid. Natural resource conservation, education programs, research, and recreation. Those are the compatible uses of the farm. This is very valuable land, and when you start applying all of those. Option 1, and what we're doing is bringing 2 options to you today. I'm trying to remember what that third option was, and I can't remember, but we discounted it totally.